North London derby is on Sunday. I could not be more excited, and that is right where we're going to start with the Arsenal. When that music played out at the stadium and they had it going, I may have shed a little tear,
The
just
goosebumps.
just a little one. I was so pumped, man. PSV came to play, and maybe that was the wrong choice. They paid for it mightily, heavily. Um, you just can't give that much space. You just can't leave that much space. And it was beautiful to see Saka get off the mark in the Champions League. Odegaard Odegaard, man. What can
He had a game, man. He had a game.
man's a monster. Man is an absolute and utter beast. He's just class. Just oozing class. I mean, even when he doesn't have the ball, he's pressing, he's directing. He was a madman. He's an absolute wild man out there in the pouring down rain, and it was absolutely wonderful. He was coming back even deeper than he normally does sometimes.
Well,
Complete and utter control.
No, he played well. I mean, you know how I am, man. I get excited for guys,
Yeah.
fulfilling their stuff, man. I think it was good. Jesus had a pretty decent game too. And the thing
Pretty
I thought
decent. Pretty decent.
I mean,
man,
these guys. I mean,
I'm drooling. I'm drooling a little bit after that performance.
Well,
like that's.
I think it was great that they got such a good win at home against a team that tried, because that matters. It's like you said, you were excited, so you wanted to make sure there's no butterflies. And PSV was like, hey, these guys, they didn't have anything to lose. If you think about it, they weren't expected to win anyways. I mean,
right.
What was it? I think it was the margin was like two or three. So you won them like you were supposed to. So what did they have to lose?
I mean, not trying to be disingenuous to them, but it felt a little naive. Like, this ain't the Eredivisie. This is different gravy, baby. And if you're going to leave that much space, Saka was in acres of space all day long. It was beautiful. Man, I just can't talk enough about Jesus' influence in the team. Yes, the fact that they played a high pressing style and were very open, left lots of space. Like, the gap between their forward press and their defenders was enormous.
Yeah, just
like
your midfielders just was salivating, man.
Oh God, it was crazy. And so we definitely exploited that to a T. And some of the touches that Jesus had, though, man. The one where he's chested the ball in the air and spun a 180 underneath it to get in between him and the defender, man. And the goal, he's just taking it. I mean, granted, he should have scored 2 more times, so I'll give you that. But the goal he did score.
Yeah, no, he's class. When he puts it in his class, it's always sort of a representation. But I can't think of a time where he's been like poor, where he's not a good player. But I think it's a standard, right? Where you want that standard, and we'll talk about that in for a different game. But is this a standard where you want to be there? So it's sort of like, well, I kind of expect him to be there, because I've always, how I feel about him. I've always seen him as class. I mean, his finishing could be better, but which you made a comment on already. But I just think that's what he's supposed to do. He's always been a technically good player. His energy, his pressing capacity, insane. Like, he holds the ball up well, and he's not a giant guy. He's quick, even with an injury. He still has some speed behind him, and he knows where to be positionally, so he can poach if he needed to. But he also can take a couple of pop shots from some space and put something on it. So I mean, for me, I think if he played any less, it goes to the point where we're talking about if Arsenal brought in another forward, would you like if it was Tony, right? And Tony's coming in. I mean, I know if we're hearing it, he's not oblivious to hearing these things.
Right.
So you kind of have to. That's the level he has to establish. Like, this is what I'm going to give you, because if you want to bring this other guy in, then he better perform better than that. You know. But I
No, you're
mean,
right. I agree 100%. He's got to show that level week in and week
all the
out.
time, because like Odegaard, I mean, that's it's he was good, but that's what I expect from him. He's supposed to do that. He's supposed to do that, you know. I mean, the guy. Literally, you're looking at him and you're like, when De Bruyne is gone, this guy is the next one picking up the mantle to just be that best midfielder. And so, so he has to do that now. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, but in his case, you can give the credit because he's always been there. So if he performs above that, you're like, this guy here, man. And that just shows the hunger, because he's in a different position, because he's your leader. So he has to set that standard. And so I think a lot of times you see him set the standard in action. I mean, he talks, but I think in action, and I think his actions and his performance on the field was amazing, man.
Oh, yeah, man, I agree. I think that, the standards are so high for Odegaard, because of how good he's been, but it's his consistency, and he's upped it even a little bit in the last two games. I think they all have, moving, from the United game going forward, we've gotten better and better and better. Again, it must be said that has a little asterisk by it, though, because the other games that we've played this season, literally every single one except for the Community Shield, were against low blocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are like, oh, Arsenal haven't been explosive. Arsenal haven't been at their best or whatever. Well, yeah, we've been facing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had 10 men behind the ball for every part of every game.
Yeah.
And so the first time that a team decides, this Champions League,
Right. Yeah.
we're gonna come for it. We ain't sitting back. They get absolutely blamed. And I'm happy. And based on the Sevilla Lens game, and based on this game, we have to win this group. Like that's the standard, is winning the group.
Good.
We are by far the best team
That team, yes.
in that group. There's no denying that. I actually watched the Sevilla Lens highlights, and they looked kind of even. So we should be able to beat it. We should be able to, at home for sure. We should be smashing everybody.
But I mean, when you saw Sevilla played City, I mean, that, just because it was a cup final, but City, I mean, beat them fairly easily too. Y'all, you should walk. You should walk this group. You should have all 15 points.
Yeah, but there's only one team who we're afraid that that can go toe to toe with us, and it's not even like that. It's we can have a great game and go toe to toe with you. It's not like, you know what I mean. So I think that Arsenal are definitely on the up and up, and looking ahead to Spurs at the weekends.
Well, a quick question before we go there, right?
Yeah.
Because we talked about this with the guys. And I mean, it's not a deal, but so what's your thoughts on Araya starting again?
Yes. Now, personally, at the beginning of the game, I was a little sad, just because of how much I love Aaron Ramsdale, and I feel like he was integral to us making, making top four. He was integral to our run last season, and so I feel like that at least deserves a reward of a start in the first game. That being said, David Raya is
good.
He's good. He's fantastic. And in both of these games, okay, against Everton, he wasn't tested even at all. But in this game, there were a number of shots come in. And okay, he didn't have to make any Hollywood crazy saves. They weren't, none of these shots were, awesome shots that are testing him, but he's still, like, when you look at the stats, I mean, he made a save 47 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
He was big on crosses, big on corner kicks. His distribution was fantastic. One time he's hit the ball straight out of bounds once. But other than that, he's fantastic. And so as much as I love Aaron Ramsdale, I think Raya starts on Sunday.
And that was going to be my next question. It's cool, We asked the question because I think X asked that as well, and maybe even Patrick about Raya. Like, is he going to take over? And it's weird because you're like, well, Ramsdale really didn't put a foot wrong, but this might be it for him, except for the cups. But you play a cup on, I think, Wednesday.
He'll play versus Brentford.
He'll play that game, but
Ramsdale will play that game for sure. And I think that it's still maybe a little bit up in the air. But if Raya does start on Sunday, which I think he does, that's a pretty clear message. That's a pretty clear message that Raya is the number one and Ramsdale is the number two.
And so my question would be, well, what did he do to lose it though? Or is just Raya's better? No disrespect.
I think it comes down to, I think it just comes down to Raya's better. Arteta thinks Raya is better. And, if Raya's the better goalkeeper, then he's got to be in there. He looks super confident on the ball, and that's something that Arteta clearly loves, and so I definitely see him starting on Sunday. I think it'll be a mostly unchanged team. The interesting thing for me on Sunday is Havertz or Vieira. I knew for a fact that Havertz was playing the Champions League match. I knew that was coming. But against Spurs,
I think he plays him. I think he plays him again, and I think Vieira will start at the cup.
I don't know, man. Against Spurs, I'm thinking Romero's back there. Who's going to be the other defender? The thing is, if you look at how we press, and that's going to be the biggest thing in this game versus Spurs, because if you look at Spurs games, they have yet to have a team blanket Maddison and Basuma. They've yet to have a team press Basuma out of the game, right? And that's what we do. Look at the way we try to play against City. Look at the Community Shield. We blanketed Rodri. We did our best to keep Rodri off the ball. So I'm wondering what Spurs are going to do if Basuma and Maddison can't get on the ball. And personally, I don't think they're going to have an answer. I don't think they're going to have an answer at all for like a plan B. Because what are they going to lop it up to Richarlison, and try to win a second ball? Not over Declan Rice. Not a chance. Declan Rice is going to eat James Maddison for breakfast. He's going to absolutely run that midfield, and Spurs are in for a huge wake-up call. I'm hugely confident about this game. Light work, baby. We're winning this 3-0. We're going to smash. Spurs have a terrible record at the Emirates for one. Yeah, okay, they're a different team than they were last season, but are they going to come and play what they've been playing? Or are they going to see what happened to PSV and kind of back off of that? And if they play open like they've been playing,
I think they're going to play open.
It's going to be a long day.
I think they're going to play open because I like their manager looks like he's like a moxie guy where he's just going to be like, hey, I'm just going for it, because it'll be not similar to PSV with better talent. Is they want to see what they can do, and I don't think it hurts them any to do that. Because what's the worst thing they lose?
I think.
Yeah, the worst thing that happens is they take a 4-0 in the derby.
No, I think this game is going to be good, close. It's going to be a lot of open play.
What's the difference between Arsenal this season and last? Declan Rice controls games. We're not giving up chances like we did last season. You're not seeing Thomas Partey getting run ragged on the break. You're not seeing Jorginho spinning circles trying to run back on the break. United couldn't hit us on the counter. They got one counter. Nah. So I don't think that with Declan Rice in there, that he's going to control this game. I'm telling you. When the way we press, when they can't get Basuma and Maddison on the ball, and they're having to rely on Sergio Romero to play the ball forward, dude. Like I say, look what happened when Maddison wasn't in the team. and they put a weakened team out against Fulham. They couldn't even replicate what they've been doing. They got one plan.
And Perisic is out too. Or Perisic is out as well.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
They have one plan. And when we completely neutralize that, they're going to have nothing, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Because they also haven't come up against anybody who can score like we can.
They have 13 goals, so they score. I think this game is open. I really think this game is going to be open.
I do. I think
it's going to be open, man.
I think it's going to be open.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but
I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think it'll be open. Because I mean, I didn't pick them to win them. If we're going to predictions,
I mean, I said 3-0.
I
don't say it no.
That feels like a little bit of a homer pick, my friend. Because I think Spurs are going to give you something.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll give you something.
I think it'll be 2-1, like controlling a 2-1.
Yeah,
I think it'll be 2-1.
That's what I have too. I think Arsenal will control the game.
I think it'll be 1-1 for the long bit, and Arsenal find the muster, find the moxie to end this like you did against United, a little late, but you'll get it done.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jake. As a side, and X, this is for you too. So, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what if you do your 2-0 thing? You go up 2-0, and I'm just saying, what if you do? Because
it's Spurs. It's Spurs, dude, at home.
It might happen.
I think Martin is going to be up for this. He's going to have the guys up for it. Arteta's going to be up for it. And that's why I don't think that we're going to have a drop-off if we go up 2-0. Arteta clearly told the guys to have the PSV game done at halftime. And we're up 3-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
The way Martin has been playing, just you can see it. You think we're gonna stop against Spurs?
I just think because there's an emotion attached to that one that's different. I just really think because it's a derby. I think that matters. Like the comment you put up there, it's because Arsenal's such a heavy favorite. They're at home. It's something to that, you know. But
Spurs are playing with a chip on their shoulder, man.
And that's
right. They've been playing with a chip on their shoulder all season.
Well, the point is, and it's a good point by Mr. Clinical, the Jamaican, is that there's no expectation on Spurs.
Right. So
nobody expects a thing. Nobody expects them to do anything.
If I'm the Spurs manager and I've seen what we've done, I can say, hey, no one expects anything of us. We're not in the Champions League, so we're more rested than them. They don't respect us. They just beat a team they were supposed to, so they're going to think we're them. And we're better than them.
Spurs are better than PSV.
And like Spurs is not better than them. Spurs is better than them.
Yeah.
So so you're like, they're gonna they may overlook us. So I think they come at you early. I think they just come at you early because, I mean, you're riding high. We just had Champions League. We feel good. We slapped somebody around. It's Spurs. The little brother or whatever. They're coming, man. And I think I think it's a part with Odegaard, but I also think Rice plays a role. But I think Raya as well. I think down your spine, there's a little more confidence. I would want Arsenal to be tested because I think this would take you to where you want to be. Because I think it increases that mettle of, hey, this is a derby. These guys are coming for us. Mm-hmm. And it's good that you get a game like this early. And if you're able to 3-0 them, like you said, then that's huge. But if you have to fight them in this one, I think that's actually bigger.
Look, we got Tottenham, Brentford in the League Cup, Bournemouth, Lens in Champions League.
It's okay.
And then it's City.
Yep.
And so when I'm looking at that, if we get 4 wins in all those games, because I want to beat Brentford. I want to progress in the cup as well.
Yeah.
So if we get all 4 of those wins, and we're coming into City, and no one's going to beat them except for us, I think. So they'll be perfect still coming into that. And so if we're flying that high, we can do it, man. I'm quietly confident, man.